What's going on, guys? 360 Digital Closing Bell here. I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, joined on this beautiful Monday, June 26th, by the executive producer of the show, the purveyor of the show, and the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com, Stuart Turley. Stu, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Michael. We are going to just be floored this week with news.
Oh, it's going to be a wild leak. Before we get into everything, both digital ticker and the one big thing for the day, please just subscribe to the 360 Digital Closing Bell, iTunes, Spotify, or Entercom's YouTube channel. We just dropped a podcast this morning going over kind of, zigging when everyone's zagging on what's been going on in the shale business the past couple of weeks. I've been seeing some articles that are a little too harsh, I think, on the energy business. So please check that out on all of your favorite podcast platforms. I mean, when we look at the equity markets today, things were, pretty flat. One of the craziest things, Stu, I don't know if you caught this, but Greg Abbott came out and specifically said that coronavirus is spreading at an unacceptable rate. So, things have slightly to pick up a little bit, which is unfortunate. And that sort of paired a lot of the gains today. NASDAQ was only up a percentage point, but that was on news that Worldwide Developer Conference, Apple came out with their iOS 15. I was watching the video. They got some cool they're doing picture-in-picture now. The iPhone's going to be crazy, but that's where you're going to see the biggest gain on the tech stock side. And that was due to Apple gaining more than 2.5 percentage points. SPY 3117. That's only a 0.6 percentage points gain. Like I said, up over 1.1 percentage points for the day, but pared down due to some of that spreading coronavirus numbers. Florida's been having some interesting cases, so who knows what's going to happen there. As I mentioned, tech stocks 10,110 leading the way at 1 percentage point. Like I said, led by Apple and their latest developments. Dow Jones 26,025 even. That's a 150 point increase over a 0.6 percentage points on that index. Crude oil is the big winner on the day, up to $40.69, $2.13. If you listen to my podcast this morning, I was on the short side in the morning. That got eaten away. We're out of it right there, back into the curve. 41.41, 1.7 increase. So everything to them. You want to talk about flattening of the curve, though? It's been unbelievable. We're at the hopefully flip that back up. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Natural gas, as always, down to $1.66, losing 0.5 percentage points. Only about 8 pips on that one. 12-month strip for natural gas, $2.76. That's down 1.7 percentage points. XOP, which is our E&P securities contract, 55.35, so losing 1.3 percentage points comparative to the S&P, gaining 0.6 percentage points. OIH, which are oilfield services, 128.97. That's actually up 0.3 percentage points. So interesting. So E&P exploration companies down, oilfield services up, which is good to see at least, but I don't know if we're going to see that move back into any of the hiring. Looking at some of the biggest movers on the day on the downside, Gulfport Energy Corporation down 10 percentage points, $1.25. Whiting Petroleum, as we know, they are bankrupt, down to $1.37, 10% movement to the downside. Midcon Energy Partners LP, $3.48, that's 15% slide on the day. Big movers on the upside, though, even though that XOP securities contract was a down 1%. Big movers on the day. We got Transatlantic Petroleum up to 34 cents. That's a 9% movement. Suncoke Energy up to $3.24. That's about 11% increase. And Pacific Coast Royalty Trust, a nice little ETF you can get your hands on, 45 cents, up 17 percentage points. So some good upside. Guys, please, if you have not checked out theoilandgasconference.com, I highly recommend it. And as the URL sounds like, it is the Oil and Gas Conference, which is the premier investor relations conference. Every year they generally come to you guys live from Denver. It's usually middle of August. This year, because of the coronavirus, they're going digital, which I honestly think is a great strategy because you really get in front of more people. I personally, for me, I live in Denver. I was barely even going to this conference. So if you be on this conference, you can be able to see it digital. It's the best way to take a look and find everything from an energy investor side. You can check all the information out at theoilandgasconference.com. We hope to see you there. Stu, what's on the international news desk?
Hey, I got 2 stories for you. German hydrogen economy to spark traded market for imports. You take a look at Germany, there's a lot of different funding and everything else in there. Hydrogen coming around the corner. We'll be watching that. The other one was the Port of Marcellus has gotten more LNG growth. Everybody likes to go on cruises, and the number of cruise ships is increasing on LNG. So I'm still big on LNG, and anybody that is green, they love to go on cruises.
Are you a cruise guy, Stu?
No.
Me either, and I will die on that hill. Maybe we'll have to slip that into a podcast. But hey, I guess now's the time to go on a cruise if you want. Really, the one big thing that came across my desk, that obviously, if you listen to if you happen to listen to my podcast, if you haven't, I'd recommend going. Really, the one big thing we have for the week is production coming back online. I think there were some drips and drabbles of that last weekend. I think what we're going to be seeing this week is maybe, especially at $40 oil, we're going to see some of the production come online. Biggest thing I saw today, and this got circulated on Twitter a lot, was the Deloitte study, and there were some absolute bombs in there. The first bomb was that the firm believes exploration and production companies, is a quote, you can find this story on oilandgas360.com, the world's greatest website. The firm believes that exploration and production companies could write down the value of their assets by as much as $300 billion as they struggle to break even in the lower for longer oil price environment. That's a pretty hefty number right there. To give you an example, we ran a story last week that Schlumberger wrote down $1.5 billion in assets, and that was some crazy news. So $300 billion, that's absolutely unbelievable. When we look at some of the market caps, I mean, the market cap of ExxonMobil's only 196 billion. There's about two Exxons are about to go under in the next, a little under two Exxons are about to go under in the next 2 years, according to what it said. And the other crazy thing that came out of it was, according to Deloitte, 30% of shale operators are technically insolvent, with oil prices at 35, and 20% have stressed financials. So that corresponds very nicely to a story we ran last week. And, if you listen to the show, you had this information last week. If, we were talking about that difference between 35 and 45 and $40 oil and what that means for your lines of credit. And we gave an example that we found on Twitter. Again, get on Twitter. You'll learn this information before Deloitte tells you. They're paying someone $200,000 to know what you could have done if you just hopped on Twitter. So that's what I'm telling you. Get on Twitter. You'll get this stuff. But it was the difference between, at $35 oil, these triple operators are completely tapped out, and they're calling their loans. At $40 oil, they're 66% drawn. So that just gives you an idea of exactly how stressed it is. And so, clearly, one of the big things they talk about is the COVID-19 impact amplifies all of the pressures. They see a lot of this stuff in Q3, Q4, which sort of lines up, but they do see the midstream business booming a little bit. And that goes right in line with Stu's big stuff about the global LNG market and how it fits in. So we were right all the way. If you listen to the show, you knew before Deloitte dropped it. But anything else, Stu? It was not a slowish news day, but oil rising on the day, pretty flat for stocks. That Deloitte thing was not the biggest thing I saw.
I got sources saying we got a lot of news coming up.
Oh, I can only imagine that. And I think I have an idea. Could be in the M&A space, but who knows? And with that, we're going to go ahead and let you guys get back to work. Thank you for checking out the 360 Digital Closing Bell. We'll see you guys tomorrow.